Today, I just celebrated my 500th consecutive day of meditating, and in this video, I'll tell you about what I learned and how I got started, and some tips and tricks on how you can start meditating as well. So I've actually been meditating for about 9 or 10 years, which initially began when I was working at my startup Mind Show, and I noticed during standups one day, one of our employees just had this very serene, calm, and confident aura. And so I asked him about, what's the deal? Why are you so chill? And he said that he was meditating, and that stood out to me. I was really interested, and so he encouraged me to get started, and I did. Initially, I started to use Headspace, which was a new app at the time that allows people to practice meditating through listening to audio. So, I use my phone, put in some earbuds, and initially got started with some guided meditation, which is good if you're just getting started, and that was really helpful as an intro. Gradually, as I progressed, I learned to prefer unguided meditations just because I find the guided ones to be a little bit distracting, and I'm so focused on what they're saying. But anyway, I've been doing this for about almost a decade now, and it has definitely improved my life and has become a big part of my life. Although I will say that historically, I was a bit sporadic. Some days I would do it, other days I would not. Sometimes I'd be very good about doing it consistently. But it wasn't until when I joined a men's group and I did something called the Point Program, we were encouraged to take on a discipline. And the one that I selected was to meditate for 30 minutes every day. And so ever since that day until now, so 500 days later, I've done 30 minutes of meditation, and it has been a very positive experience. And so I want to tell you a little bit about what it's like and what my process is like and what I've learned. I've noticed that when I did meditate sporadically and inconsistently, I would get somewhat of a positive benefit, but really it's been in the practice of doing meditation every day consistently where I've noticed the true benefit in my life, which has resulted in an overall feeling of calmness, equanimity, and confidence and clarity throughout my day, not just while I'm meditating, but throughout the day as I'm going about my life. And so, of course, there's the benefit and the experience of being in the meditation itself for the 30 minutes, with my eyes closed and reflecting on my thoughts and observing my thoughts and praying and wishing, for, a better life and, being optimistic and hopeful and that kind of stuff. And, those are some of the thoughts that I have when I meditate. But then, of course, when I open my eyes and I'm back here, I just feel healthier, I feel more calm, and overall, I feel like a better person. The metaphor that comes to mind would be when you see a rock in a stream, and the water is rushing through the river and around the rock, but the rock is sturdy and it's centered as the water flows around it. And so in a similar way, I feel like my mind and my body and just my being is somewhat similar to the rock and the current of life, of the chaos of people and events, circumstances are flowing past and through me. And I'm not as emotionally reactive to negative things as I once was. Instead, I'm able to somewhat more objectively experience challenge and observe it and observe my thought pattern instead of having that quick snap judgment about what's going on. And so that's been a big shift as well. I think another big change is just also being okay with where I am and what's going on in the present moment, as opposed to resisting it and being annoyed with whatever my particular circumstance is. Every time I meditate, it's an opportunity to refresh my mind, reset my body, and reconnect to a deeper part of myself that is always present, but maybe I'm not paying attention to as much. And so the habit, the practice, the discipline of going back into that void, that darkness inside my own being, it's created a deeper connection to who I am as a spiritual being. I definitely am far from an enlightened being, like I I still have judgment, I still have fears, I still have challenges in my life, and things that go wrong. But my practice of meditating has equipped me to deal with life's challenges in a more confident way. It has helped me get through very challenging times. And whenever I come out of my meditation, I'm always grateful that I have done it. And the impact, it can be quite subtle, actually. It's not something that you're like, whoa, I'm Jesus. It's more like this subtle sense of calmness that pervades my waking life. And that is noticeable if and when I stopped meditating prior to this 500-day streak. I would notice in years past that when I stopped meditating for periods of time, my life would just get worse because I would feel a little bit more foggy, or just life felt more murky. And so the process and habit of meditating allows me to just feel more sharp. The other aspect that I want to reflect on is the consistency of 500 days of my practice. And it's kind of amazing because I don't know if there's anything else in my life except for maybe sleeping and perhaps eating, like basic stuff like that I've done that consistently. And it has revealed to me that I am capable of being a disciplined person, a disciplined man. And I'm grateful to have stuck with it for so long. And the interesting thing is, I also have a little bit of a fear around, what if I forget one day or just don't do it? And there definitely is a little bit of attachment to that number of wanting to keep that streak going. And I definitely plan on continuing this practice, and I don't expect to stop anytime soon. But, if I were to miss a day for whatever reason, ultimately it's just a number and I'd get back and start again. So I'm definitely proud of reaching that number, but I also do feel a little bit of like, how much am I just showing off that it is a number, right? Like, to feel good about this like large seeming number. Is there some ego there? I think there definitely is a little bit. I mean, maybe you clicked on this video because of that. It is a cool thing, I guess, to accomplish, at least in like a positive, healthy sense. Okay, so I've talked about the benefits of meditating, how it's impacted my life, and how I got started, and what these 500 days have looked like. Now you might be curious, how do you actually get started meditating yourself? And I'll tell you a little bit about how I do it and what I use, and maybe that can inspire you. First of all, I use an app called Brain.fm every day. And Brain.fm has a host of different types of music for achieving different states. So one genre is for focus, one is for sleeping, and then they have a meditation section. And you can either do guided or unguided. And of course, I generally speaking do unguided, and you can set your time, so 15 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever. And there's a whole playlist, a spectrum of different types of music that is in there. And there's no words or anything. It's just kind of peaceful, different types of songs, but it's specially designed to help you meditate. And I don't know exactly the science behind why or how that works, but that's just the point of the app. And I found it to be exceptionally helpful, not only for meditating, but also for focusing when I'm working and things like that. So that's my go-to. I just plug in my wired earbuds typically. And then I also have this meditation bench that I use, which you can get at meditationbench.com, very convenient URL. And it's very nice. I've been using this for maybe about 6 years. It's made of wood. And there's this like cushion part here. It's very well made, and these parts just fold in, for storage. And so it's pretty simple. I just sit down on the bench and I fold my legs in and I sit up as straight as I can. Of course, meditation can be challenging, to sit for periods of time, extended periods of time. We're not really used to that in our culture. But I would recommend certainly not starting with 30 minutes. I'd probably recommend starting with 5 or 10 minutes and just try to do it consistently for a week and see what that's like. You're going to notice that it can be hard to sit still for extended periods of time, but maybe just try it for about 1 week and see how you feel. And then you can work your way up to maybe longer periods of time, like 15 minutes, and then maybe after a couple months, 30 minutes. I found the bench, brain.fm, to be quite useful for meditating, and that's my practice. It's quite simple. I close my eyes, and I know that there's a variety of different styles and types of meditation, whether it's you're thinking about a mantra, or maybe more oriented around praying, or there's all kinds of stuff. And to be honest, I would really love to get deeper into how I can improve or enhance my meditation practice. But I tend to keep it simple, and I just stick with those things that I mentioned. And I've been consistently doing that for over a couple of years now. One misconception about meditation is that you're trying to get rid of negative thoughts. But actually, it's really more about observing your thoughts and watching and listening to your mind. And I have had some very profound experiences where I have been able to go so deep into it where I almost eliminate the thought process, where I'm just kind of in this voidless, timeless space. And I'll admit, I really haven't gotten there that many times. Most of the time when I'm meditating, it's just 30 minutes of trying to settle my mind down and observing my thoughts, reflecting on my day, thinking about what I want in the future, things like that. So, sometimes meditation is easier, sometimes it's harder, but overall, it has definitely improved my life and is something that I would recommend to anyone, regardless of your age, race, or culture, where you live, whatever your background is. It's something that anyone can get into and is accessible, and it's free. So hopefully this video has been helpful, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much for watching, and definitely make sure to like and subscribe to this video for more content like this. And I'd love to hear from you about your meditation practice. What do you do? Do you have any tips and tricks? And if you end up getting into meditation yourself, please let me know. And I'd love to be in touch. All right, I'll see you next week.